Hi, I'm Ben Staub.
I'm Andrew Beebe.
I'm Greg Becker.
And we're going to be reviewing some films in the LGBT subgenre to test a hypothesis of whether or not, as time goes on, the films become more progressive, meaning that the more recent one we watch should be the most progressive. So in order to do this, we'll be looking at several films: Brokeback Mountain, Death Trap, Carol, Philadelphia, and Point Break. Those are our sample films, and we're going to be looking at different criteria, such as the Bechdel test as it pertains to LGBT people, and as extra credit, the Bechdel test for women and the Bechdel test for racial minorities. And so we're also going to be looking at how harmful tropes are present in the film, and we'll be looking at how culturally significant the film is or will be going forward. So the Bechdel test, Andy, do you want to explain that?
Okay, so the Bechdel test, to use the Bechdel test on a film, you choose your group, so primarily we're looking at homosexuals, and it passes the Bechdel test if two named homosexual characters, ever even once speak to each other about something other than a heterosexual character. And so we're also doing racial minorities, so if two people who are of racial minorities talk to each other about something other than a white person. And we're doing the female Bechdel test, which is probably in pop culture the most popular one. If two women ever talk to each other about something other than a man, it passes.
So for tropes, if you're not familiar, are sort of cliches. They're sort of ever present in films, if you love him, let him go. You know, the sort of things that are present in different films of the genre. And so we're going to look at which ones that are in these movies are harmful to the portrayal of LGBT folks in the film, such as barrier gays or campy gays or straight gays, themes like that we'll get into. And so the less harm these tropes do in the movie, the higher the score it gets. So we're looking for the movies to get the highest score possible. So for cultural significance, what is a culturally significant film?
I suppose there's two criteria. One, it does have to portray the LGBTs in a good way.
The LGBTs.
I just can't stop using that definite article. It has to portray LGBTs in a good light, and then I feel like more importantly for the significance, people have had to receive that good light. People had to watch the movie and be like, oh, that's a good point. Maybe I won't hate gays anymore.
Either in pop culture or in cinema.
Yeah.
And
so
the cinematic tradition.
Just how influential was this film's take on homosexuality or whatever, on cinema or just pop culture. Yeah.
All right, so let's get started for Brokeback Mountain. So Brokeback Mountain stars Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal as two. Are they cowboys?
Well,
Southern.
Do they
blue collar?
Yeah.
Young Southern.
Yeah, they don't really herd
laborers.
any cattle, do they?
But they do herd
herd
sheep, and that's how they get together, because they both take the same job herding sheep on the titular Brokeback Mountain for a whole summer season.
Yeah, they're there for summer.
And then they gradually begin to develop feelings for each other on said trip, but then the trip ends and they go their separate ways. And then the rest of the movie is devoted to showing them how they move on from each other and their efforts to reconnect with each other.
Yeah, so they go to Brokeback Mountain to fish every once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. They both get married to women and they start families.
They're not fishing, by the way.
Yeah, they're not. They never fish.
Yeah,
they could fish,
but they actually were panning for gold in a segment.
Are they?
That was with mustache Jake Gyllenhaal. He was panning for gold.
Oh,
is that just a metaphor?
I thought he was washing the pan.
Actually, no. Yeah, I like Andrew's theory.
I don't know.
I don't think they were panning for gold.
There we go. Reducing the stereotypes.
In 2006 or whatever.
Yeah, I pan for gold in film on.
Well, no, it's happening in the 70s.
Oh, it's set in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts in.
That was the Neo Gold Rush.
And it takes us 10 years. So,
God.
Okay, so, for one thing, they both have beards.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the movie. The whole movie is
The
about
whole movie is about their beards.
the
and
whole
afro.
movie is about how they are not allowed to be openly gay in their culture.
I think I should clarify, because he got confused. The term
I'm always
beard,
confused though.
Oh.
if you're not aware, it refers to the girlfriend of a gay man to cover his sexual proclivities.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the whole sort of backbone of the movie, is following both of their, like, lie marriages.
Yeah.
And how they come together into the space of Brokeback Mountain and have their, like, real life together, which is constituted by, like, a few weeks a year. So I guess that is going to probably hit our trope scale, the beard thing.
Right. But first, we're gonna say what we thought about the movie. Greg, what did you, when you saw it 7 years ago, what did you think of Brokeback Mountain?
You know, I remember it being a very good movie, mostly because my dad was saying how good a movie it was.
All right,
But yeah, like,
go Mr. Becker.
but I mean, yeah, like from what I remember, like it was a very good. You're probably gonna cut this out.
I don't know. Say the feel,
Two
man.
thumbs up from Greg's dad.
Yeah, from my dad. I wasn't paying the most attention
Oh,
because I wasn't aware that in like 7 years I'd be asked about it on camera. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Well,
He wasn't ready.
you should have known.
I know.
I like Brokeback Mountain.
I will never cease to.
And my dad has never seen Brokeback Mountain, just for the record. I like Brokeback Mountain. I think it was a really moving movie. It's, because it's like a high drama. It's really, the shooting is cool. We get to see gorgeous shots of Brokeback Mountain.
Oh yeah,
Which is obviously awesome.
cinematography.
And
yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's not Patrick Swayze. We've been talking about Patrick Swayze a lot. Jake Gyllenhaal
Heath Ledger.
and Heath Ledger just kill it, right? I mean, they're both great. Their relationship, as it should be, totally drives the movie. It's fantastic. Gyllenhaal has this like monologue at the climax of the movie where he just loses his shit and shouts at Brokeback Mountain about how it's like, this is all we have. All we have is Brokeback Mountain. Like,
Because that's all where they see each other.
yeah, it's like chills. I wonder a little bit about the whole, like, we're gonna follow their, like, failing marriages plot. I mean, I don't know, like, how do you make a movie about gay people in the American South during the 60s? I guess it's maybe unavoidable, but that's not the interesting part of the movie to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I loved it start to finish. I thought it was a beautifully directed film. Ang Lee did a fantastic job. And interesting enough, Ang Lee was going to quit right before he made it, because he made that Hulk movie that nobody remembers.
What?
Yeah, he made like a Hulk movie in 2003. And then...
Oh, I remember that!
Yeah,
With Ed Norton.
Eric Bana.
Oh.
Wait,
Before
It's
the Ed
different.
Norton
It's
one.
not Ed Norton?
wait, is there an Ed Norton Hulk movie?
Yeah.
Ed Norton is the Hulk.
2008. That exists within the current universe. They
okay.
just replaced him with Mark Ruffalo. Anyway,
Okay.
so he was going to quit, and because that movie did terribly, and then he picked up this film because it was based on a book, and the author was like, "You do this," and Ang Lee was like, "Yes." Word for word.
Yeah.
And then that brought him. I think he got Best Director for it.
So Brokeback Mountain is a good movie,
Oh yeah.
Good movie.
despite
Worth your
anything that we may be about to say about it.
Which
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna say anything bad.
We're
about
gonna
Brokeback
say
Mountain.
Well, we're definitely
We're
going to talk
gonna
about
say
some
how
stuff
terrible it
about
is, other
Brokeback
than
Mountain
that.
that, I mean, a diehard fan of Brokeback Mountain might not want to hear.
I guess not. Like the Brokeback Mountain fandoms, the Brokies, as
The
we,
Brokies.
as we call them.
Please
I don't
let
know
that
if
not
this
be a
exists.
thing. Oh
Okay,
God, I hope
so
that's not a thing.
Brokeback Mountain has a reputation in pop culture.
Yes. It is, as South Park puts it, the gay cowboys eating the pudding.
They don't ever eat pudding in this movie, right? South Park has created a Brokeback Mountain legacy, not single-handedly. It has
Single-handedly, I will argue.
contributed-
And also Family Guy, because there's that gay
And
cowboy song I
Family Guy.
kept singing during the movie.
Yeah, okay.
I do
so,
not. Wait, what episode was that in?
I don't watch Family Guy. I don't know.
Oh, then why do you? Okay, whatever.
Pop culture?
So, yeah, the
Yeah.
pop culture legacy of Brokeback Mountain is definitely problematic.
Reductive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, the idea... You hear about Brokeback Mountain, I thought it was a movie where they just... Two gay men go on a mountain and have sex, and that's the whole movie. Like, it's one time on the mountain, and they're up there, and that's not true. So we have this idea, like the whole having sex on a mountain thing sort of like takes over our idea of what Brokeback Mountain is.
Yeah.
And we're...
Like, when they left the mountain, I thought the movie's over.
Is this movie over now?
Where was
like,
Anne
no,
Hathaway?
like they have a whole life. Anne Hathaway's in the movie.
But she's blind.
She's
Like,
blind?
She can't say that Jake Gyllenhaal's character's gay.
I think she kind
Jack
of
Twist is-
knows.
Well, I guess she's not as, shocked or overt about it as
Yeah.
Michelle Williams is, who figures out right away.
And Anne Hathaway's character is like a businesswoman. She's highly educated and smart.
Right.
But she also has a lot. She has a lot of money to worry about, and she's like, they are more like they have more social pressures on them. Like we see them at fancy dinner parties, and they go out to like fancy like country businessman dinners with like other people in like suits and stuff. And so I feel like her character, even if she did know that Jack Twist, Gyllenhaal's character, like was sort of lying to her about this, there's not as much she can do about it in an ironic way as Ledger's character's wife, who can like cuss him out and
Chase him out of the
chase him out of the house.
Yeah.
Because they live in like the country and yeah, it's.
Do you think that she wasn't bigoted in Hathaway? Do you think that her lack of prejudice towards homosexuals kind of colored the way she acted towards Jack?
I felt that a little bit.
Where it was kind of like a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a different culture that is happening where she is. Of course, Gyllenhaal's character. This is a spoiler. Gyllenhaal's
Skip
character
this time code if you don't want to.
is the one who gets murdered in a ditch at the end.
It's only implied, but it basically happens.
It happens on screen. It is
Well,
not just implied.
that's a
We
visualization.
disagree.
It is Ledger's visualization of what he thinks happened.
It is not. Ledger is realizing it, and we get these shots of what happened to confirm his realization. This is disagreement.
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it's presented to us as his visualization.
So Heath Ledger's character's father. I should learn his name. His character's father.
No, what?
Dingo. Dingo
Ennis?
McCringleberry.
Enos.
Eunice.
Epic.
Eunice.
No. Eustace. No.
Heath Ledger's character's father once brought him to see a lynched man on the side of the road who had been lynched for being homosexual, and that would have been in like the early 50s when Heath Ledger's character was a little kid. And there's sort of, I felt that there was an implication even that Heath Ledger's character's father had been involved in that, in the murder. So Heath Ledger, his character in the movie has, he's physically violent. He punches walls and things, and that's sort of how he takes care of his problems. So there's an implication
and loud hicks. He punches loud hicks.
And loud hicks, yeah, that's a pretty cool part. But anyway, so there's an implication, obviously, that his home life as a child was like his father was violent.
Yeah, because he's
like that too.
He has pent up rage throughout the running of the film.
So then when Jack Twist, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, it's just such a memorable name. Twist gets lynched later on. It's almost like Heath Ledger's character is experiencing like some kind of like recurring prophecy, right? And he's been and Ledger's character has been living in fear for his life, basically his entire life, because he's been taught this is what happens to you when you.
This is what happens when you
fuck
fuck a stranger.
This is what happens. This is what happens.
You are not cutting that.
What is it? When
You
you
are not
find
cutting.
a stranger in the Alps. He thinks that this is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
Yeah.
And then it is. So all of this is, I guess, the good part.
Yeah.
For the cultural significance of Brokeback Mountain is all this that it explores.
Yeah, and just how much it brings to light, how they lived in fear and all that. So the Bechdel test. So what needs to happen, again, is two named gay characters have to talk to each other about something other than straight people. And I think it basically passes, right? Like, they talk about enough things.
It passes, yes. Oh no. Hold on a second.
What was that?
I think he said wrong house.
That's... Thanks, buddy.
Sorry.
In the wrong house.
This is rude.
This is very unprofessional.
Oh no! Okay, so.
So, about the Bechdel test. So what needs to happen in the Bechdel test is for two named gay characters to talk about something other than straight people, and I think it basically passes, right?
It passes technically. So it's strange. You'd think that a movie all about the lifelong love affair of two gay men would pass the gay Bechdel test with flying colors.
Rainbow
But
colors.
in practice, they mostly talk about their bad marriages and their families, their kids, because they do have kids. Earlier in the movie, when they first meet, they complain about their boss a lot, and that makes up the bulk of their conversation. And that's most of what they talk about. And the Bechdel test is passed by virtue of, obviously, they fight about their relationship, so that's an important scene. Sometimes they talk about sheep and beans.
When they talk about all they have is Brokeback Mountain, Brokeback Mountain is, interestingly enough, not a straight person. So I think it passes.
Brokeback Mountain is not a straight person, so it does pass the
Let's
Bechdel
put
test.
Let's write that.
Oh, I have an idea, because he talks, I guess minor spoilers, Jack Twist talks to, Heath Ledger's character about an affair he had with, quote-unquote, somebody else's wife. But it was really the husband. So, does that count as a Bechdel test if what he meant, if he was just lying about the dude? So what he was really talking about was the dude, but he just said the wife?
You know, I think that is a clever way of dodging passing the Bechdel test. Right? Because the power of the Bechdel test, what it is referencing, is like surface level screen time for minority groups to be dealt with creatively.
Right.
And if you make your characters have to, like, even in private they speak in euphemisms, I feel like you're missing the point of a Bechdel test pass. Right?
Me?
No, not you.
Oh.
The movie. Not
Ben
Ben
personally too.
I guess it's over now, because I just don't understand what it is.
Ben's good.
For now. You're on probation.
No. Okay. What's our next topic?
We have to talk about tropes now.
Yeah.
So, bury your gaze. Did we already talk about that?
Yeah. We talked about it, but did we cut
I'm
it?
never gonna stop talking about
Was it on film?
I don't know.
I don't
Well,
know.
to recap, if we need a recap, bury your gaze, not mine, yours. Bury your.
I've
gaze.
already buried my gaze, but your gaze, they're still up there.
Bury your gaze is a trope that refers to the killing off or disposing of a gay character. I guess not very good reasons, just to like maybe create drama or just manufacture some tension.
Or even if... Okay, so burying your gaze happens when a gay person dies in a movie. And what makes it a trope is that it happens over and over again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, every time you see a gay person in a movie, they have to die. And if there's more than one gay person, at least one of them has to die.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens in Brokeback Mountain. And it's not central to... I would argue, personally, that it's not central to the drama of the conclusion of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them dies, and the other one goes to the dead one's house and meets their parents and looks through their old things, and it's sort of like an emotional crescendo, right? But they've already had their fight at Brokeback Mountain, and it's not part of the climax of the movie. So it feels a little bit strange that the one of them that dies has to die. Especially in the context, knowing that gay people die in movies all the time. So you wonder about, like, does this character have a right to be the main character of a movie and be gay on the terms that they have a death drama. Like, they have to die to earn the fact that they were gay in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe... I feel a little bit like it might be happening in Brokeback Mountain. As good of a movie as Brokeback Mountain is, I kind of feel like maybe
So is it always a bad trope, or is it contextual? Because I think
That's a big
Well,
question.
I think it
Yeah.
is contextual.
You can't just
'cause I
say
think
anytime any gay character dies.
that it's bad. Like you can't kill gay characters on film. I think that, like I said, when it's just to manufacture some drama towards the end, when you need to give your movie oomph or a best or like a best film nomination,
Yeah.
then if you're killing your gay character for that purpose, then you've done a bad thing and you've made this trope harmful.
And what also points it out as a killing your gays moment is no other named characters die in Brokeback Mountain. Right?
Yeah.
There's no other death. And his death just kind of comes out of nowhere. And
Yeah, it kind of does.
it
Yeah,
kind
you're
of
right.
comes out of nowhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I guess we were just talking about how there's a foreshadowing element too. But and from another perspective, you could feel like it comes out of nowhere. And I think that adds.
Well, there's no way of knowing in this case that it's foreshadowing until the thing it foreshadows happens.
I guess that's
Unless
true.
if it's not quite heavy-handed enough.
I don't know. I'm an English major. I should
For a
know
best
more
film
about that.
nominee, it's not quite heavy-handed enough.
Okay.
Which is weird. So now we're gonna get into the part where we score the film, not musically, with the criteria we've laid out.
Yeah.
So what? For the Bechdel test, it's pass-fail. So we agree that it passes, kind of barely.
Yeah.
It does pass.
It does pass.
Not even barely. But
There's not as many instances as there should be for a film belonging to these two gay men,
But it does pass.
but it does pass. So then the next criteria would be tropes. So we're gonna score it from a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being the tropes are as harmful as they can possibly be to the portrayal of these gay men, and then 5 would be these tropes are fine. They're there, but the movie kind of transcends them or doesn't even pay attention to them, that sort of thing. So where would we put Brokeback Mountain from 1 to 5?
background, at least in the beginning of the movie. And, like, so it turns out that Michael Caine's latest play that he wrote is a complete flop. Like, I don't think it makes past opening night.
The laughingstock of the town.
Yeah.
And every news outlet.
Of Broadway. Like, where are they?
I think.
Are they? I got the feeling that they were in some, like, Norwegian island, like they were in Iceland or something, like they weren't in America.
It looked like, kind of like upstate New York where they were living.
Yeah, like, it wasn't clear, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I have not seen Death Trap.
The entire movie takes place in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're in Michael Caine's wife's fancy house when Michael Caine brings up that one of his students has sent him a play and it's actually extremely good, and then does Michael Caine come up with the idea that he should?
Oh yeah, Michael Caine being sort of obsessed with the fact that one of his students has surpassed him in his writing abilities, that he is going to invite the student up to review the play and sort of critique it, and then kill him and take the credit for the play and get all the money.
And what professor couldn't identify with that position?
Yeah.
So hijinks ensue. I want to be averse to spoiling this movie because there's several twists and they're all very entertaining. Although the movie is a little slow.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna go into thoughts on the quality of the film, I liked it, but recommendation-wise, I would if you have patience.
Can we also say? I feel like we have to say that Michael Caine and Christopher Reeves are in a relationship.
Yeah,
That's
are
the relevance to the.
They are the two gay people.
Oh,
in this film.
okay. That makes sense.
And that comes into play later.
Yeah.
So I would recommend the film, but it definitely feels like it's adapted from a stage play.
Yeah.
Like in the blocking, in the pace.
It's not entirely a bad thing.
No, not at all. But yeah. So
Fine.
I would recommend it. Greg, would you recommend it?
I would definitely recommend it. I enjoyed it. Like the very ending, I felt just kind of went, I guess, over the top and just kind of lost some of its value. But other than that, I still enjoyed it.
By like the last third of the ending, I felt like
Yeah. Like the ending just keeps happening, and we're like, oh, so this is how the movie ends. It's still not over.
Yeah. It's on the principle of, if we do 2 twists throughout the whole film, if we just make the ending a bunch of twists, then it's a better ending.
Anyway,
but it's still good.
Overall good movie. I would recommend it.
So let's break down the criteria. So for the Bechdel test, Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve had to have had a conversation that did not involve straight people.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. They talked
about the play.
They talked about money. They talked about the play.
They talked about the play, which was written about themselves. So in essence, they talked about 2 gay people, right?
I guess.
The play Death Trap that they were writing
Yeah.
was based on their story.
Also, there's conversations before we even know they're gay.
About
Do those count?
about the travel up. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So
There you
I
go.
think I would say it passes the Bechdel
It does
test
pass.
on at least a few levels.
However, in terms of minorities appearing in
Yeah.
this film, this is a very white film.
Okay.
Very.
Good.
This is a white film.
No,
there are no minorities, unless if you count Norwegian as a minority.
Or
Now-
German.
Here's my question. Just because the wife and the German woman have a conversation in the same room as Michael Caine, does that mean they don't pass the Bechdel test?
Do they? I don't remember what it is they say.
She was...
I would have to watch it again. Because I honestly don't remember what word... Because, Michael Caine's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that mean... and he's in on the conversation. Don't they have to be alone, or am I just confused?
Then they just need to speak to they
Oh,
need to
okay.
be named.
See?
They
Okay.
speak to each
They-
other.
they
So
just-
they are both named, and they do speak to each other. I don't remember exactly what they say to each other, so,
She
I'd have to watch
was
it
she
again.
was walking around the room getting psychic signals.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she referred to any particular man.
What is this movie?
Dude, you gotta watch it.
You gotta get a baseball.
I get it.
But when she goes around the room touching things and, foreshadowing the ending. But I don't know if she refers to any specific man. So I guess, I'm gonna go with it passes, just because I don't remember them talking about a man.
I guess I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say passes. I don't remember what words were said in what order.
In terms of tropes, we've got, so something I found was that, again with the straight gay kind of thing, Michael Caine was he was a very straight sort of gay.
Yeah.
But
Really?
meanwhile, Christopher Reeve could be flamboyant at times,
Yeah.
but wasn't quite camp.
No, I wouldn't call him.
He was less camp than Jack Twist, I would say.
Okay, well then, Jack Twist is not super camp, so
Yeah, but he was a little bit less kind of
Christopher
like
Reeves isn't super
energetic
camp
and
either,
youthful.
so.
But he
do
was
we
still
remember?
youthful.
Do we remember the characters' names? Because I don't.
Oh boy.
I feel like we're gonna start seeing a pattern, especially when we get to Philadelphia in the future,
Yeah.
that this straight gay trope business is really deep in the cinematic tradition. Like, if you're gonna make a movie that wants to be progressive about gay people, they have to be really straight gay people.
Just to get it past the censors.
Can we not have a movie that is
that's a good
progressive and, like, empowering of homosexuals where they act a little bit camp?
Now,
Because as a bisexual, I am sometimes a little bit camp. I mean, it's not like it's wrong to have camp in. So why can't we have movies like big like empowering movies about camp gay people?
yeah.
That's so. Think about that, viewer. While we return to talking about.
We now return to our regularly scheduled Death Trap talk.
You might put
So-
that
Alright.
later.
So is that harmful? That I guess not, because he's not very campy. So like it's not gratuitous. or anything
Alright,
like that.
now, I understand that, okay, this might slightly spoil things, but I do want to talk Bury Your Gays, because what I noticed is that while no gays die, there are gays that are buried.
Michael Caine fakes Christopher Reeve's death and buries him in the backyard. So in essence, this is a bury your gay.
Oh no.
Oh wait, no, that's right, that's wrong, because, okay, more spoilers, they do all die at the end,
Give them
because that's
time to
true.
Yes. So
Oh, actually, oh no, it's only heavily implied, actually, if you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I am just baffled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
see,
is.
you're confusing
It's-
things yourself reason to watch.
It's not on
Yeah.
screen or on stage or what have you. Actually, it is on stage.
It is on stage, but it's not on screen.
Oh man.
Well,
So actually, I wanted to talk about. It's not necessarily a trope, but Greg, you also noticed this. There are just random. It's almost gratuitous
Oh,
in
shit.
the
Must
camera
be weird
just
stuff.
gradually comes to rest on Christopher Reeve's ass.
how many times would you estimate this
Countless.
happened?
We did not.
At least 10. Honest to God, at least 10 times the camera will like
just
kind of rest on
slowly
his
pans
ass
down the back,
and it will
then-
almost follow it, but then it
So-
goes slow.
So how much of this movie is Christopher
I would
Reeve's
say,
movie?
okay,
What do
it's
you
a
think?
90-minute movie. I would say about 88 minutes is Christopher Reeve's
It's
ass.
crazy. It's
No,
almost
it's not.
it's almost told from the perspective of his ass.
How much time does he spend without? Is this his bare ass?
No,
no,
this
no, no.
is
Oh.
his fully clothed
His nice jeans
Interesting.
give him a
post
nice
Superman ass.
So what is going on there? So do you think that the movie is trying to claim itself as a gay movie? Like it's like if we're gonna be an LGBT film, we better have a lot of homoerotic content.
They only kiss once.
So ass it up, Reeve.
See,
Or is it like you know?
well, okay, I do know that this movie came from the stage, and then there's more of a gay culture in the stage. So I feel like I got the feeling that it was trying less. It wasn't trying very hard to be gay. It just had like two main characters who happened to be gay. Like this movie could have worked if they weren't gay. You know,
Right.
like
Okay.
it's not essential to the plot. It just kind of happens, and it's not like it's not like they kill each other because they're gay.
So in a way, this is a more progressive of the bunch because it's not a gay film, but
Yeah.
it's got two gay
It's
people.
two people
But the
who
focus
are,
isn't
who are
even on
gay
them
and
being
definitely
gay.
gay.
Yeah.
It's on
It's-
Christopher Reeve's butt.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
Yes.
yes. But it's also just focused on them trying to scheme against each other, I guess,
Yeah.
is the film. I was going to say write a play, but that kind of takes a back seat to the scheming.
Yeah.
And can we talk about the bondage themes?
Oh yeah.
The minor bondage themes in this movie. They have a lot of... There's much ado about Houdini's handcuffs.
Yeah.
And what is or isn't Houdini's handcuffs. Yeah. Christopher Reeve is bound for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean...
Is it like a sex scene, or is he just?
No. It's closer to murder scene.
Murder.
because if you say spoilers slowly, they're not spoilers, right?
But it's closer to like he's got a bunch of murder props in his room.
Yeah.
And so
From all the plays he's
he
written.
kind of he's kind of like, hey, Christopher Reeve, sit in this chair, and then these are Houdini's handcuffs. Ha, I gotcha. I'll take out this gun that's not like what does he take? Like a gun?
He takes first he looks at a gun, and then he looks at a dagger, and then he looks at a crossbow, and,
And
he's
then
like,
Christopher Reeve is just kind of like sitting there sweating because
Yeah.
he can't quite because he says that Houdini's handcuffs you just twist it like that and pull it away and get out, and he keeps doing it. And he's like, no, you're doing it wrong, and so you think that Kane's gonna kill him right there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So tension. Another note about the movie, they really do well with building up tension. Like Sidney Lumet did a fantastic job with this movie.
What's next?
So what is Okay.
the floor gives us all of the answers in life. If you hadn't figured it out, now you know.
Oh, so let's talk about what it got right and. You can't show it! What are you doing? The integrity
Get all
of the video!
Okay.
So let's talk about what it got right. So I thought, I don't know if I'm imagining things, but is it weird, I don't know, somebody taking this role in the 80s, like, were there a lot of gay roles in the 80s?
Everyone looks at Andrew.
I'm not
We're gonna phone.
resident gay role 80s expert.
We're gonna
Andrew.
phone a friend.
For more talk on what it got right, we have a special guest to talk to us about films in the 80s and
how
the
gay
amount
they
of,
were.
the amount of gay
Or
roles.
stage roles in the 80s?
I guess stage roles, yeah.
Stage roles in the 80s.
So come on in, Mr. Swanson.
Hi.
Hi, this is Zach. So when watching the movie, I thought it was maybe a little bit progressive that Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve were so willing to take these roles in the 80s, but maybe that's just me misunderstanding how prevalent gay roles were in film or on stage.
See, the in the 80s was the height of the AIDS scare, which caused a lot of drama with the relationship between theater and the homosexual community. I was recently in a production of Red Noses, which is a play that's it's a black comedy about the
Black Plague.
Black
Black
Plague.
Plague.
However, it was written at the height of the AIDS scare, and it's all a big allegory for the AIDS scare. Because they treated the AIDS very similarly to the way they treated Black Plague back in the Middle Ages.
Mhm.
So, this was a time where artists who, yes, frequently throughout time have been predominantly homosexual, have been trying to reach out to this community and raise awareness, raise acceptance. So it was not uncommon or unheard of at this time for someone in the art world to be trying to reach out like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's very helpful. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zach Swanson. So now we're going to get into the final score for this film. So for the Bechdel test, we've said it passes, but fails both of the extra credits with flying colors.
Wait, no, didn't we say it passed the girl one?
Oh, yeah.
It passes
Yeah,
the
that's
Yes,
what
it
we
does.
test.
It just passed. It fails the
Like-
racial one.
Yeah, with
With
no
no-
colors.
no-
No colors!
There
No
is no
colors at all.
debate. There is no debate there. And as for tropes, I don't think I found anything harmful. Did you?
When I was watching it, I was kind of very self-aware of the fact that I was watching it in the context of this project. So I was thinking, like, is it a bad thing that, like, the two gay characters are trying to murder each other? But I'm like, that's not really a trope.
Because their homosexuality takes a backseat.
Yeah. So it's like really not. Like I think I'd have to give it a 5 on the tropes. Because
Although,
they just seem to be like incidentally gay. Although I suppose there is the all playwright or play people have to be gay. I guess that's the only trope I could think of.
But it feels clean.
yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything was contrived or
Yeah.
anything.
Mhm.
So I mean, for tropes, I think I would give it a 5.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I have to abstain, so it's out of a 10 for this one, because I have not seen it.
All right, so 10 out of 10 for tropes. Shit. So cultural significance. I just want to point out that, with the exception of Dr. Ward, whoever I have mentioned this film to has
Never.
never heard
I
of
had
this
never-
film.
I have never heard of this film.
Or this play. So at least my generation, this is just, it was a long forgotten movie, but now it's a hidden gem. Because I'm going to be recommending this to everybody.
It's a hidden gem. Wait, so is it a hidden gem, like, beyond this context? Like, are there people out there who think this is a hidden gem, or do you... is it hidden that
is
you
this
have
just
found
you?
it?
It was hidden and I have found it.
Is this,
All right.
I
is
have
this the
struck-
Benjamin Staub hidden gem?
It's at least a 2, because
Yeah.
Benjamin Staub is here to bring it
And I'm going to bring it back.
back.
It's going to be trending. Hashtag
Yeah.
Death Trap. So for the reason alone that, I mean, I can't think of anything that
Where's the cat?
it's changed in cinema. I mean, we get Christopher Reeve's career ended 13 years after this film, and there's been no mention of this that I've seen. Greg, have you seen anything about this ever?
I've never heard of it outside the context of this.
I had to, because I was looking, in my research for this project, I looked at, on Wikipedia, list of, I don't want to say list of gay films.
List of homosexual dramas.
List of LGBT films. And Death Trap was on there. And I saw the word death and thought, hey, that looks cool. So I clicked on Death
This is the
Trap.
problem with our generation.
And Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve, two very, very well-known actors in this film that I've never heard of. So for the fact that I've never heard of it, I'd have to give it a 2.
It's gonna have to...
Yeah.
That's a 3
I
out of
mean-
10. And if I had a vote, it sounds like it's...
I'd honestly,
like a 1.
I'd give it a 1.5, and really that half is just coming from it. It should be more well known.
It should be.
but it's not.
But I just don't see echoes of what this film had in
Yeah.
today's
So that's a 3.5 out of 10.
10.
So,
Jeez.
as a
It was you
caveat...
started so well,
I
but
know.
no one ever cared about you.
Yeah.
As a caveat, it began as a stage play, and we don't know, we're not part of the, stage culture. We're not scholars of that, so
Right.
there could very well be a culture out there to which this is
So,
much more significant.
off screen, Zach, you've never heard of Death Trap?
Never.
Death Trap has never been
Zach has
discussed
never
in
heard
your
of Death Trap
circles?
either,
Nope.
so obviously Zach
There
is
you
an
have it,
expert.
folks. Our resident theater expert has also never heard of Death Trap. So now let's talk about Carol. So Carol is a
Okay.
film about two women who meet in a department store. One of whom is older and very wealthy. The other woman is sort of a meek sort of girl who doesn't really know what she wants. Is with a guy who she's only half interested in, but he really wants to marry her. And just this initial meeting between the two of them just sparks this flame inside of the younger woman, and so they begin pursuing each other, and it starts this tumultuous love affair, all while the older woman is grappling with a messy custody battle over her kid.
Yeah, because she's separating. She's currently married to
Yeah.
this
He's in
rich guy.
To Harge.
Yeah,
Harge.
she's in the process of divorcing her husband
Yeah.
when she meets. Wait, which one's Carol?
The older women, Carol and Therese, begin this tumultuous love affair, which
Although,
culminates.
to call it a tumultuous love affair, not to criticize you, but
It is, isn't it?
it's tumultuous.
There's a lot of internal conflict with
But
Therese.
that is absolutely true. But their relationship is is pretty much strictly emotional for the most of the movie until we get to an important and pinnacle scene where things get physical.
Mhm.
But they don't have an affair. It is an affair,
Yes.
but they don't have an affair.
Mhm.
They fall in love. Carol feels like we asked ourselves in the viewing of this movie whether there was a homosexual equivalent for a cougar.
Mhm.
There was that moment where we were like, is Carol
Because there was a power dynamic going on,
Oh,
where
yeah.
she almost like class in a way. 'Cause
Yeah.
she was
Absolutely.
Carol is
Definitely
Carol is
class,
very wealthy, and Therese lives in this tiny apartment.
And Carol takes Therese to fancy dinners
And I mean, when they
Bowser.
first met, from the very first team when they meet,
yeah.
is when you see the power dynamic, because Therese is just some clerk
Therese is a clerk dressed as an elf.
at a department
At a
store,
department
and then
store.
Carol comes up to her in her fancy dress and asks her, what
Yeah.
kind of toy would be good for
And she
my
gives her these
for my daughter.
eyes.
Yeah.
And so, what did we think about the movie? What did you think of Carol?
What did you think of Carol, Andrew?
And all you saw of it.
Carol is a really good movie.
Yes.
Somebody I saw on Twitter. Actually, it was an important person. I think it was like, not John C. Reilly, some comedian. Called it Transcendent.
Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt called it
yeah.
a transcendent film, and I think that captures it.
It transcended your ability to watch it.
Stop it!
Okay. Greg, what did you think of Carol?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it felt kind of like a female, Brokeback Mountain, because like you had
It's similar.
yeah, like I mean, not that they were the same movie, but with girls instead, but like it had like. Whereas Brokeback Mountain had a very masculine kind of like, oh, we're in a mountain, we're wrangling sheep, and I'm gonna stem the rows with you.
But I'm not a queer.
Yeah, and then
That's
Carol
that's
showed
not
kind of
what
the
he
other
thinks.
side of the book, the
That's what he
feminine
says.
side of the book, where they just kind of like go to nice dinners together and talk about their feelings.
Yeah. Carol it's a beautifully shot and designed film, but it takes so much time with the beauty that some viewers, not naming
Some
names,
viewers whose names
They-
may or may not be Andrew.
Why do I deserve this?
they do sort of. It does sort of make the film a little slower at times, but the film itself is a beautiful portrayal of a homosexual relationship that doesn't rely on their pain to tell the story.
And no gays get buried.
No gays
Yeah.
are married.
They don't
This
die.
is a landmark movie.
This is the first
Now-
the first one.
Are they straight gays? Because no one. This
Because
movie.
there isn't as
You were
that's a good
talking
question.
The other day, you were mentioning to me, after we watched Point Break, you were mentioning to me something about how women's perceptions of like homosexuality are colored by men.
Right,
So
the male
so,
gaze.
So they look, the male gaze. So they look at a male couple and they think, oh, that's homoerotic, but they only know that based on.
Well, what to the male gaze is when a straight female or anybody who's not a straight male will look at an image of like a feminine eroticism, so like a picture of a naked woman, and they'll think that that's like sexy, like that's just sexual,
Right.
and they look at an eroticized man and that's homoerotic, and this happens even to a straight woman who in real life is attracted to men will interpret in media like male active sexuality as homoerotic and female like sexualization as not.
Mm-hmm.
Carol doesn't have that problem. In Carol, the characters are sexy because of this is gonna sound. This is because of the personalities, right? Like
Yeah.
they fall in love with who they are.
Carol
As
herself just like oozes sex because she's walking around like coolly and she's got this like gentle husky voice.
She's charismatic.
yeah.
She's.
It really just comes across as she's just straight up seducing Therese.
I'm actually not too sure like how a straight gay applies to female because
Well-
like you've got that like butch lesbian stereotype. So would anything other
So
than,
what would
or-
a campy lesbian look like?
Well, we have butches.
looks like it looks like a lumberjack, like a female lumberjack, and that's the only image that I come up with.
And femmes.
Mhm.
So butch and femme are terms that actually exist, as I understand it, in some regions of like lesbian culture.
Yeah.
Like there are women in the world who identify as a butch, and there are women in the world maybe. I don't know if you self-identify as a femme or like.
Somebody else
but
does.
somebody else identifies as a femme, but it's not pejorative. As far as I know, like people like like if you're a femme, you date a butch, and sometimes that's how it works.
And in the case of Carol, femmes date femmes.
Well, either they're both femmes,
Or they don't.
they don't have
yeah.
that, and
I feel
and
like
they're straight.
they don't have that.
So
Are-
in that way, do you think this is a more progressive film because it transcends those sort of labels?
I feel like it's a more well. Those labels are labels that the gay community really uses for itself, but they're
Right.
also stereotypes.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So that's honestly this confuses me.
No.
I am confused.
We're not women. We're not lesbians.
This is
We
harder
can't-
for me.
Yeah.
Because like I haven't
We tried.
spent
We can't
time,
find
like,
them. I want to bring one in.
I've never been on the lesbian version of Grindr,
Yeah.
but
Wait,
So-
is that a thing?
No, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what. Yes,
We're
it
not listening, we don't
absolutely
know.
is.
Lemon
So I
or-
don't have the background knowledge to tell you about it, but I kind of wonder. I wonder if they're straight gays, right? Because, like, Carol doesn't. She's like a stand-up 50s woman.
I mean,
She's like an ideal 50s. Like maybe we have two ideas of what an ideal 50s woman would be like.
Right.
Because maybe one of them is like a demure housewife, sort of like totally
Therese.
sexist. Like, I don't think Therese is.
Well, you said Demure, and I thought Therese.
Yeah, okay,
So,
Therese is.
yeah.
Like, you know,
Well,
like.
Demure Housewife is what her boy person wants her to be.
Right, yeah. So the sexist ideal of a 50s woman exists in this movie. We get the boyfriend character who wants her to just move in with him and paint his walls and make him hot
While
dogs
he's
or
meanwhile,
whatever.
he's meanwhile
like
Like,
make
they-
his hot dogs.
where they have never been
No,
intimate, but he thinks it's okay to go fuck other women.
Oh yeah.
You know, that was
Yeah.
that was rough.
That so.
But
these
she
two
took him to
tracks-
task for that, and that was cool.
But on the other hand, Carol is like I don't know. She's very feminine.
Well, I
she's
think
very feminine in a really like I don't know. She's an empowered woman, right? She's
I
an
almost
empowered
think
woman.
that if this movie wasn't like hyped as the lesbian movie of the century or whatever, then I think
Lesbian SmackDown 5000.
then maybe the identifier that I would have for Carol was that all we know about her is that she loves her daughter more than anything in the world.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
Carol's daughter is what drives Carol to do what she does, and I mean to a smaller extent, but not too small. Her love of Therese.
Yeah.
But mainly, what drives the plot is her wanting to be with her daughter, her wanting to get custody of her daughter. So let's head into these criterias. So for the Bechdel test, you get the drift. We're doing we're doing both the female and the and the gay Bechdel test, and I think they both
passes
pass.
both of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does not pass the racial Bechdel test.
Were there any like black people?
Yeah, there's a party scene.
Yeah,
Therese is at like a party with her.
There's, like, some
bohemian,
there's, like, some-
friends.
Yeah.
But they're not named.
Yeah, they're not named. They're all incidental. None of them. I mean, I don't even remember if any of them have lines.
Yeah.
Oh, and the gay Bechdel test, like it's very strong because there's at least 3 principal gay characters. It's Carol's sort of ex-fling.
Yeah.
Her
And they're
daughter's
friends.
grandmother. They're really they've been friends since they were really little,
Yeah.
and they've been, I guess, together since.
They've had
then.
at least some sort of romantic thing at some point in the
Right.
past.
And so then they have a conversation, Carol and her, and then Therese and her have a conversation later, and then of course Therese and Carol have conversations. So it's a very strong pass for the LGBT Bechdel test.
Yeah.
So getting into tropes.
And the woman back Bechdel test too.
Oh yeah.
I also would like. I think historically, this might be the first movie that, and maybe the only one we're going to talk about that is self-aware of the Bechdel test. Because the Bechdel test is not developed until after Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the only movie where
Oh,
the production of it and the writing would know, would be able to be asking themselves, are we passing the Bechdel test?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes or no? You know?
It is also based on a book, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But
Price
obviously,
of salt.
the film takes on
Yeah.
its liberties.
I mean, the film can add or remove scenes.
So if
That's
that might be relevant or might not.
So in terms of tropes, for the life of me, I can't think of any.
God, we need
I
to do
could-
more
I mean, like, I don't
research.
know. Like,
Well, no,
I
like,
feel-
during the film, I took notes, and I couldn't.
Well, and it's like I feel like this is just a symptom of like the male side of the LGBT community just dominating in pop culture. That they're the
That's
ones who get all the
true.
tropes, you know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, something I noticed because we watched this after Brokeback. If you remember, Brokeback once Heath Ledger and Jack Twist separate.
Heath Ledger and
Jack.
Heath Ledger kind of like punches a wall and then like retches and vomits.
He does do that.
After Carol and Therese kind of separate mid-movie, minor spoilers, Therese also has a moment where she's retching off the side of the highway and throwing up. So I don't know if that's going to become a new trope or if it's already an existing trope.
Well, so there's this idea that we've talked about a little bit while we were watching these films,
Yeah.
that if you're going to have an LGBT movie, at least in as far as the LGBT characters are concerned, it has to be dramatic.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to make I don't know if I could think of an example of a movie that is progressive about LGBT issues and is a comedy about them. Like, obviously we have TV shows that do that, but big cinema really relies on drama to sort of justify to you being a gay movie. And this movie obviously falls right into that, right? So, but not as much because the drama thing kind of goes hand in hand with the bury your gays trope, which doesn't happen here. So it's not as much like we get a custody battle, and then we get the intensity of their emotional relationship. But like, I don't know, because human lives, lesbian lives, are not always like stories where like you vomit due to like out of like the intensity of your pining for your love, and, you know. So that could be going on there.
So,
which is like a trope.
I guess so, but it's not harmful.
It's not harmful. I think it's a
It's not
limitation.
harmful, yeah.
I don't know if it's harmful like for a public perception of the LGBT community. It's a cinematic limitation.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're concerned with that, though.
I guess we're not. Maybe not.
At some point, it will become tired, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we just keep seeing it in Brokeback Mountain 2.
Back Mountain 2, like
they're children.
Oh no. What does this movie get right? A lot of things, actually. Like,
Yeah.
no gays get buried. There's no gays in the ground.
No gays in the ground.
Like, I felt like the love affair that they had was very, very realistic, very layered, nuanced,
intense.
It's
like a distilled, intense love affair.
The sex feels
Those
earned.
happen in the real world.
The sex.
Oh, I'm being serious. Because, like, in Game of
Oh,
Thrones, you just get rutting, like, here, there, here, there, here, there.
I don't think that there's a problem with the way Game of Thrones portrays sexuality, but go on. Go on.
I mean, in comparison.
I personally think there's not quite enough sex.
There's not quite enough sex in Game of
Alright.
Thrones. It feels a little bit sexual.
It feels a little bit dry.
And can we just talk about, like, the happy ending?
Oh, yeah.
None of the films we have watched
So
have
you
had
know what?
happy endings.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I didn't notice that.
Carol wins so far, right?
Yeah,
like,
Carol-
why can't you have a happy ending in an LGBT
Like,
film?
why can't the gays
I don't
win?
know. The
Like,
gays
just,
have to
just let them win.
let them win.
Just
Well,
let them
because
have it.
the
Carol
gays
does.
aren't winning in society until what they got marriage. What do they need now?
So, Bechdel passes tropes. I'd give it a 5 for tropes.
Yeah, definitely.
Me
a
too.
Fives all across the board.
All
Perfect
right.
score for
Perfect
tropes.
score.
Out of 15.
And then
So, cultural significance, 1 to 5. Like, it's the Brokeback Mountain thing again. It didn't win Best Film.
but people are talking about it.
Well,
Are they?
People talk about
yeah,
it.
yeah. People were talking about it at the time.
Okay, because
I
I
remember it.
the only what got me to get this film on my list was, I mean, the Oscar buzz before the Oscars, and then afterwards there was an AV Club article written about it, which was the whole, like, Carol was the first film in a long time that didn't make Payne, the main couple's, like, race on stage.
Yeah.
You know? So I read that article and I'm like, oh man, this movie, I gotta see it. So I'm predicting this will become the Brokeback Mountain of, like, 2015, where in votes going forward, they're going to dethrone
What one?
Spotlight.
I didn't even
Spotlight.
know that they could do that.
Spotlight. Oh really? Oh wait, that was from.
Well,
this
it's
year?
not official. Like, they don't take the award away.
Yeah.
But the Academy's like, hey, we should have done that.
I didn't know that
Wait,
they
it was
did
from
that.
this year's Oscars.
So
Carol? Yeah.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't even nominated.
I hear
Oh,
about
it wasn't
Carol on the
nominated.
internet.
Oh,
I mean, I
that's
read
why.
articles
Okay.
reference not just AV Club ones, reference Carol. And
It's a tremendously good film, and it speaks.
Yeah,
I
it's quite good.
but we are a little bit in. We're a little bit close to it to know.
Yeah.
To really.
Yeah, like
read
so.
its significance.
But it's also young. It just came out last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think in this case we can talk about. I don't know, like. How do you think it?
Three.
Three? Damn it, dude. 5.
5.
Four.
Well, I mean, because we
five.
can only really talk about.
I thought you were saying that it wasn't significant.
Well, I'm working my way through it. But
Okay.
well, I was gonna say that before you interjected with your score,
I'm sorry.
your criminally low score
4.
was you were.
You can't. That's voter tampering. This is a democracy. God damn it.
Flip the sides. So we can talk about, like, how it will be. Like, are we predicting that this will be like a hallmark of gay cinema going forward?
That's. I don't think that's for us to do. I think it's just like how significant.
I might. Yes. I might say yes to that.
Cool. Like that's like.
Well, what else can we do? Like, it came out. It's not even on Blu-ray yet.
I'm gonna be fair. I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I think it has potential to be a Hallmark, and I've seen several articles written about it. So people are still talking about Carol and how it was like grievously snubbed for the Oscars.
I'm gonna have to agree with you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 3.
Three.
I'd love to give it a
Wait,
5.
why did you get talked out of a 5?
Well, because I
He
kept.
checked himself out of it.
Because you don't go outside? Because that's what I
This is
got.
voter manipulation.
No, because I can't give it a 5 because
You can't
I
give it a 5 yet.
admittedly, yeah. Hopefully later I will be able to give it a 5,
I don't
but
know.
right now I
I'm
have
giving
to
it a
give
4
3.
because
All right.
not.
Can you recast your vote?
I
for
can.
the camera?
Okay. I'm giving it a 4 because I ducking enjoyed it, and I think other people are gonna ducking enjoy it.
All right.
Alright, that's an 11 out of 15 for Carol. My cultural significance.
And damn, that's a good score.
Provided that I can do
Ducking,
the math
that's a good
correctly,
score.
which I can. Alright. Philadelphia.